And the guy was probably like, dude, I'm going to get a raise. I'm going to do this. And they're going to be like, wow, Jeff did a really fucking cool thing.
Hello, my name is Steve, and you're listening to a special episode of Anime Plus, where we have two guests, and we're going to talk about Gundam GQuuuuuX. First, we have with us Adam.
Hello, I'm Adam, filthy casual.
And then John.
Hi, I'm John. I'm a, I don't know, expert?
Am I You're definitely learned.
Giant nerd?
You were definitely deeper into the Gundam reality than I have ever gotten.
Yeah, I know. I own everything that's been released on Blu-ray in the United States, and I've watched nearly all of it. There's some stuff that I've struggled to get through only because I gotta sit and pay attention.
Gundam GQuuuuuX is a 12-episode standalone story. It was pretty much the brainchild of Hideaki Anno, who is Neon Genesis Evangelion fame. So the story takes place in a alternate version of the Universal Century where the Principality of Zeon has won. They have success against
the Earth Federation.
Yes. Part of this is due to Char getting his hands on one of the prototype Gundam.
The Grandpa Gundam.
The
RX-78 too, which is, Grandpa Gundam as the fans on the internet call it.
And pretty much wrecking shop until he causes what's referred to as a Zek Nova and disappearing his ass from reality. The series takes place in year 85. And we find ourselves in pretty much the only place that humanity survives in that has not been touched by the 1 Year War, which is the Side 6 colony. The narrative point character is a teenage girl named Machu, who lives a pretty idyllic life in Side 6. So being as any child of privilege, she is ill-content with her life of
basically attending a
carefree
finishing
reality.
School.
So a fate encounter with a girl who is of refugee status from Side 2. She ends up getting enmeshed into the world of underground mobile suit battles called Clan Battle. She is thoroughly engrossed in the concept.
Along the way, though, they acquire this mobile suit. The GQuuuuuX.
The GQuuuuuX.
So many U's.
The scrappers acquire it, and then she ends up piloting it.
The girl that she bumps into is referred to as Nyan. And Nyan, who is the refugee, is working as a courier for black market goods. And the job that she's doing while she runs into Machu, she is carrying an activation key that allows a mobile suit to be used for combat specifications. She is delivering it to a group of scrappers who need it to continue participating in the clan battle.
The Pomeranians.
Machu accompanies Nyan to the scrappers, and in the midst of their conversation, a fight breaks out inside of the colony between two mobile suits, two Gundams actually. At the same time, there is a Zeon ship at the colony. We don't exactly know why they're there, but we know that one of the people on the ship,
Shalia Bull,
since Char's disappearance, he has been searching for him, hunting down rumors of Char's all-red Gundam to try to find him, believing that he's not dead. In this mission, they end up bringing the GQuuuuuX, which is a new prototype Gundam, with, just in case they do encounter the red Gundam, which, plot-wise, happened. So he sends his best pilot out to pilot the GQuuuuuX and encounter the red Gundam and hoping to try to placate it and just get a hold of Char. GQuuuuuX engages the red. They end up battling inside of the colony.
Frowned upon, but it happens all the fucking time.
Right.
Machu ends up hopping into the GQuuuuX and syncs with it pretty flawlessly, and she defends herself from the military police who show up to try to stop the party. So, surprise, it's not Char piloting the red Gundam. It's this kid named Shuji.
Yeah.
Machu convinces the scrappers who run the Pomeranians to let her and Shuji, who's piloting the red Gundam.
Well, no, she doesn't. So she doesn't actually tell them. So
she's like, I want to do clan battle.
She's like, I'm going to do clan battle.
I'm going to pilot this
I want to make
thing.
the money. I'm going to pilot because she hops in and she pilots it.
Because
so they know
she is able to connect with the
They know
Psycom.
that she can do that, right? Because, and this is where
Whereas
things
Xavier
get complicated. He struggled a little bit, yeah.
He couldn't get it to engage. So Machu and Shuji in the end up doing clan bat as the Pomeranians. That goes on for a while. Varying degrees of success, learning abilities.
There are things along the way in the clan battles.
Confrontations with death and mortality. So the final clan battle that they engage in against the Psycho Gundam.
That's which is that pinnacle
at
episode.
At the same point, there is
it's got to be episode 8 or 9 or something.
What is her name? The one sister who's
Cassilia.
She is at side 6 because she's meeting with officials, construction firm.
Oh yeah, she's doing that shit. Yeah,
because she has a plan enacted. So the battle with the Psycho Gundam was actually a cover for them to try to assassinate her. And all hell breaks loose, and what it means is it leaves our 3 main characters between Machu, Nyan, and Shuji, who have at this point grown into a tenuous love triangle, split up. So Machu decides to say, my life is in ruins right now because I got exposed for participating in this, so everything's fucked. So she hightails it to head to Earth to at least go enjoy atmosphere in the
Well, she thinks that Shuji's there, so she's also trying to find Shuji.
Shuji disappears, and they're thirsting for Shuji. Nyan sees Shuji disappear in a minor Zeknova experience.
And she's fucked up by it, but then Xavier shows up and is like, dude, I got you.
Be like, hey, you got skill, come join us.
Right. Yep. So he takes her to Zeon.
Yep. And that culminates back at Earth, where there is a plot by Zeon, at least by Cassilia, to realize the elimination of normal human beings.
Right, and that's
and also the usurping of power from her brother.
She wants to be at the head of Zeon.
Correct. Well, she just wants to be at the head of humanity.
So she does. She poisons and kills Garen. It all kind of happens in the same episode as the attempted poisoning of Nyan by the Miguel kid, the other pilot.
Yes. Yeah.
Which also, like, dude,
that was a nice arc.
She straight murks that guy with the Fred, like vaporizes him and the platform he's on.
Yep.
Maju goes to Earth. She is a wanted criminal, but she's taken into custody on the Zeon ship, and Shalia Bull actually sets her loose and lets her go to Earth.
Do we know if it was really Shalia?
He did. He did. He absolutely did.
It kind of felt like the messages were actually coming from Shuji.
Her cell door was unlocked.
I don't think it was him that was.
I believe they showed him. Well, he was monitoring.
He was monitoring.
Right. So he was facilitating it happening.
Okay.
So
he was at least complicit.
Right.
He was very complicit.
And complicit is guilty.
But I think it was
Shuji
that,
as well.
I still think it was Shuji that was messaging her though.
Maybe, but he was accommodating.
Oh, he was definitely.
He made sure that the cell was open, that she could get to the Gundam and she could go.
Yep.
So she bails. She goes to Earth, and this is where things, honestly, like as watching the show,
this is where the story shifts to, I'm sure, for Adam to actually become incredibly engaging.
Yeah.
But also very referential in a way where I'm worried that people didn't know what was going on.
As I was watching it, I was doing a lot of research.
Right.
I spent a lot of time on the Gundam Wiki.
So she goes to Earth. She dumps out. GQ sinks into the ocean. Yep. She dumps out. She flies over. But she ends up in this aristocrat's home.
Yeah, she comes to.
This mansion.
In a mansion. Yeah. And it's clearly a love den for military officers.
Yeah.
Like the head...
The madame.
The house mom?
The house mom.
Kind of the house mom.
Kind of. She's like the creme de la creme. She's
the house mom.
I mean, if we were pimps, we'd call him the bottom bitch, but hey.
Happens to be Lala Soon. And again, this is one of those situations where if you don't know who Lala Soon is, none of this really fucking matters.
No, without knowing her background, her introduction and her interaction with Machu is very different. Mm-hmm. Like when you understand the tragic history that she and Char and Amaro have.
Right, and I remain willfully ignorant of it because I don't, like I said at the start.
Adam, I'm gonna blow your fucking mind here, dude. You haven't watched all of this stuff yet, Steve. So when you get to the point where you watch Char's counterattack, we're talking years after Lala has died. The last conflict between Char and Amaro, they're fighting about Lala Soon.
Yeah, I can see that.
When they essentially cease to have physical existence. Okay. They don't kill each other. They become like energy that orbits the planet. And in that last moment, they're fighting about Lala Soon and whose fault it was that Lala died.
It's Char's.
That's when we see this alternate timeline, and we start to see all this stuff.
Lala was trying to protect Char.
I don't think they make as clear in this series as it was in the original or in Char's counterattack. Lala loved Char, and Char loved Lala, but Lala loved Amuro, and Amuro loved Lala.
Yes.
And in a lot of ways, Char and Amuro loved each other.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think Nyan, Machu, and Shuji
yes,
are like analogs of that same relationship. Yeah. But in the end, it's not that Lala picks Char. It's just that like she was with Char. And
she's
in the
just
end,
part of. She just ends up being on
in the
Zeon's
original
side.
series, Lala dies because Char is about to kill Amuro, and she gets between them. I believe that in that moment, that Lala is frozen
in time, and is pretty much the catalyst of everything dealing with Shuji's.
No, it's not.
Eternal stress.
No, it's not, because the Lala that's there is the Lala from the timeline where Char died. It's not even the real Lala. It's a different Lala entirely.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, because she's trying to find a
timeline where the White Gundam doesn't kill Char.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to bring that up, that's further along when that gets revealed.
In the canon, the
Universal Century.
Ultimately, like, it's not the RX-78-2, but Amuro's piloting New Gundam when they both die. So it is essentially still the White Gundam kills Char.
Yes.
Again, it's years down the road, but it happens. We've got the Lala of this timeline, who's basically working in a brothel. But she has dreams of all her other existences.
Yep.
And she knows that in those dreams, she falls in love with a blonde-haired man in red, an officer.
And she chooses to remain within her position so that she doesn't have to put him or herself through the trauma of all these timelines she sees. All of these things come together, and ultimately what it is, they think they're going to be using this object, which is actually Lala
in her mobile armor, yeah.
To power a weapon that'll essentially wipe humanity off of
What
Earth.
do they call it in the
I don't remember at all.
Because in the dub, it's the Rose of Sharon.
Yep.
Yes, that's what they call it. Yeah.
Okay.
Their plot with this device that they built is just to make this giant fucking Zeknova that'll take out Earth, not understanding anything.
Cassilia's goal is to use the Zeknova to blow up Earth. Yeah.
Correct.
And there was a flashback episode along the way where we saw that the attempt to wipe out
what's the
moon colony.
Yes. I can't remember what it was
which
called.
is when Char was lost. He fights his sister when he's on Abaku when the thing blows up and he vanishes and he sees that the light type gun cannon, I think it was.
I think it was a gun cannon, yeah.
And he senses the pilot. That's Artesia. That's his sister, which is why he doesn't attack her, because he knows that it's his sister, and his goal is not to kill his sister, but to get revenge for the Zabi family killing their parents.
Yeah.
So he loves Artesia. He doesn't want anything to happen to her.
Char's goal, throughout the end is just to kill all the Zabis.
Yeah. Well, and to bring about
the evolution of
the new type.
The new types.
Yeah. So but there was that flashback in there where we lose Char and
where we see the events that lead up to the first Zeknova that they had witnessed and the disappearance
that
of
everybody's
Char.
scared shitless of happening again. Yeah.
Correct.
Except Cassilia, apparently, because she's like, hey, dude, remember how I wiped out all that shit, dude? Why don't we do that again?
Let's make a bigger one.
Yomagnutha, the most ridiculous name. And dude, I can't believe I pulled that one off just now because I was reading it, watching the show.
Yeah, I never even attempted.
It's like, I would not think that's the way you pronounce that.
But yeah, that's a wild name. I'm sure it's a reference to something. I mean, I know that there are always references to historic literature of some type. But yeah, they're building Yomagnutha, which is essentially like a giant space weapon.
Yeah, but they're saying it's an energy thing.
Yeah, an energy cannon, I would assume. That
They were gonna, they're like, this is for humanity's benefit. Like,
it was a solar collector type.
Yes,
dealio.
That's what it was.
What they
that was the cover.
There are way too many political entities involved in this for any of this to be good. When fucking What's-Her-Fuck was provided those two codes, I'm like...
When Jan is punching in the codes from Fred?
The coordinates,
Yeah, and I was like, bro...
And it's like, she does the one and it did a bunch of fucked up shit and killed a bunch of people. And
and she immediately is like...
And she's like, I better put it in the next
second
one. What are you doing, dude?
Right, because the first one...
You think you're the good guy.
The first one works so well. It opens up this fucking, weird energy fucking vortex /
and the sickest moment in the history of a Gundam show, man. They open up Yomagnutha. They're doing all this shit. Everything's going nuts at the end. And you got Shalia Bull out there fighting Xavier in his super dope gun.
Yep.
And the Rose of Sharon, which Elmeth, I think
it's just a giant helmet.
It's a mobile armor. That's what they say.
We're given the entire reason why all of this is happening.
We have this amazing moment where, at the end of an episode, you see the people from the dev team that built Yomagnutha. And it's an old guy and his daughter and this dude
this blonde-haired guy.
This blonde, very stylish turtleneck, black turtleneck, green
he's
suit.
He's definitely up to some
floppy
shit,
blonde-haired guy. And everybody, Dude, it's great because
He was very suspect.
He says some shit, and it's like it's the end of the episode, and everybody on the internet went, "That's fucking Char, dude." And if you don't know,
Right.
you're an idiot.
Right. Like, I was like, looking at him like, that's where Char.
Right.
That was before Fred smashed that control room.
Yeah, and killed everybody else.
Yeah,
and he's
he like just steps out. He's like, oh,
he like sneaks in that door.
I gotta go for a
no
smoke
problem.
break. Just kind of walks
But
out.
he's awesome, and it makes it clear then that it becomes clear at that point that what actually happened was that he ditched the Red Gundam.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how Shuji ended up with it, but there's some
there's some holes.
But he inserted himself into the Yo Magneto
Design
development team.
So here,
And that's a little bit of a problem.
A little bit.
Because the scale of this, and I was like,
And suddenly
he managed to completely change the design specs to do a special thing for him, and nobody knew?
Yeah, when historically has Char ever had a understanding of orbital mechanics
Char is...
and physics and like mechanical,
Char is
engineering?
a super genius, for one.
I don't know about that.
I know.
Look.
I'm with you on it. But I mean, I'll let it slide because it's Char. And
I'm not going to let it slide.
Oh, I'm gonna. I'm gonna for one reason, because goddamn, he looked so cool. When like Cecilia catches him and he like took his floppy like emo hair,
and just like peeled it back,
slicked it back, and I was
my God,
like,
it's
man,
Char.
he looks fucking cool.
It's like, hold on, let me take off my glasses and then you can recognize me.
Right.
There was a detail about it that I thought was pretty cool. In the main like original Universal Century, Char has a scar between his eyes that I believe is from his fight with Amuro at the end of the first series.
Okay.
I think that they have like a sword fight. I think it's when he stabs into his mask.
Okay.
But this Char doesn't have the scar because
course.
he never. So like when he did, I'm like, where's the scar? I'm like,
wait a minute.
Wait a second. He didn't have that fight, so he doesn't have that scar. But he has that scar all the way through until Char's counterattack. It was kind of a cool reveal in that moment when he pushed his hair back and the scar wasn't there.
They're like, this
that
is
gave
a
a
different
larger indication of what was going on as well.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's say that he doesn't. He himself didn't change the design specs,
He knew who to talk
but
to.
he's a really, really smooth, likable dude.
He's resourceful.
He's always been very charismatic.
There we go.
His
All right,
charisma
we'll go with
is
that one.
100% his greatest skill. And he found the guy and was like, dude, buddy, how about you draw in a thing here where it can do a thing for me?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, ooh, that's a good idea. And he's like, no, it's cool. It'll do this.
Yeah. We
It'll
might need
work
some
out for
additional,
everybody.
some additional capabilities.
And the guy was probably like, dude, I'm going to get a raise. I'm going to do this. And they're going to be like, wow, Jeff did a really fucking cool thing. Jeff gets a raise.
Good job, Jeff. Kudos. Pat on the back. This will definitely come up in your next performance review.
Right. Yes. Positively, of course.
Right.
Fortunately for Jeff, his superiors no longer exist.
And nor does Jeff, likely.
Right. Simplifies the whole process right there.
I'm kind of blanking on how everything culminated.
Neon pilots Fred into the thing, into
Yes.
Yo Magnutha,
Triggers Zeknova, kind of.
kills the
Development
girl
team.
and the dude that Char was working
The
for on the
scientists.
sly.
Yep.
Doesn't kill Char. But we get into like some cool magic stuff at this point. And we haven't even gotten to the moment. I haven't had a moment like this while watching a Gundam show or maybe any shows in a long time. But we're getting
Does
to
it
the
deal with
moment.
the RX-78?
It does.
Okay.
It's the moment. So she goes in, she puts in the code, she enters her ID code to give her access to Reason 2.0.
Yeah.
It's 16 numbers long.
Right.
And she gets it, and then they're like, there's an update available. Would you like to update?
Yeah.
Please enter another code.
Yeah. Please put in your
So
BitLocker
it does,
pin.
and it kills a bunch of people, and she's like, dude, for real. So she enters another code, and then
and then can't fire, so maybe it needs a cooldown.
right, Mashu shows up, and she's like, bro,
What the fuck
what are you doing?
well, they go at it a little bit until it's like, wait a minute.
And then the Rose of Sharon is there, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So like it's exposed that Lala is in like a suspended animation sort of situation.
We need to blow this up. No, we need to save her.
Right.
Right.
And this is where it gets a little convoluted in the most Gundam way ever.
I would say most Evangelion way ever,
Well,
honestly.
Porque no los dos, right?
Fair. One did lead the other.
Right. So so we get into that whole explanation of the two worlds.
Yeah, the
Oh
fact
wait,
that
or is that that's in the final episode where Shuji really explains it, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Or
we're-
towards the
we're-
end of 11.
where the
So-
Rose of Sharon is not from this timeline. It came from a different timeline, which is causing
And that
some of these
Shuji came to
disturbances.
destroy this timeline. He says,
Yeah.
I came here to destroy it. And there's some fucking moment where it happens.
Because this timeline is keeping him
It's
from
aberrant in
being
some way.
with from Lala.
So that's the moment, by the way. The end of episode 11. Oh my God. As a giant nerd, and Char's counterattack being one of my favorites, in that moment, he says, I didn't come here to save this timeline. I came to destroy it. And a song starts. The first chord of the song hits. As they do that, they show the RX-78 with the white background coming through. And that song is Beyond the Time by TM Network, which was the closing song for Char's counterattack.
Dude, I could literally just imagine like this little tiny like ghostly hand just pulling in and grabbing your heartstrings and just like tugging you so far in.
The song is a banger.
Yeah.
And it's from like the late 80s.
So it's that Japanese synth poppy kind of.
It is. They could have just put that single chord into that moment and every fan lost their shit. It was the kind of moment that they designed, obviously, for that reaction.
Yeah, of course.
But the use of an audio cue like that was so well executed that, like, I didn't care what happened after that. I was like, while I was watching that final episode, like my final rewatch.
Yeah.
And as I told you, I keep the subtitles on the whole time.
Yeah.
I saw the lyrics, the translated lyrics to that song. All of it was so perfectly referential to this storyline of multiple timelines. I mean, the song's called Beyond the Time.
If there's anything that is true about GQuuuuuX, it is nothing but a fan letter and a love of Gundam in general.
Right.
That's truly and wholly what it is for.
Yes.
It's
the fucking Evangelion guy being like, dude, I love Gundam.
Yeah.
Let me show you how I love Gundam.
Let's do some deep shit. Enjoy.
When that chord hit, dude, like, and I have this kind of revelation about different things I watch. This is not for me.
Right.
But unlike other shit where I'm like, this is not for me. Like, this isn't for me.
But it's fucking cool.
Oh. Because I'm not so absorbed into it yet.
The bummer of it is, because you didn't have that background knowledge, that moment didn't like...
It's not going to hit. If I go back and watch the catalog and watch it again, it's not going to hit like it hit you.
Right. So like...
It's still going to hit.
We just had the 50th anniversary release of Jaws last week or whatever it was. And there's a moment in the movie that I was explaining to my kids while we were watching it on the 50th anniversary. And I talk about like how impressive it is because you're talking about using analog video, like film equipment and like the way the shot's done. And I think that it's a moment where the movie, like the depth of the movie really hits. And it's when Alex Kintner gets eaten on the beach and Brody's sitting in his chair. And they do a shot where it goes direct to his face, and you see it's a zoom, but it's a depth of field zoom, so it gives this like disquieting sort of feel.
Yeah.
And when you watch Jaws, for one, if you're not loving every minute of it, sort your shit out. It's one of the greatest movies ever made. It's spectacular front to back.
Right.
No notes. Even on the 100,000th watch, when that moment hits, when you see that like depth of field like weird zoom. It gives you that chill every time. It's like in Bad Boys 2 when they're like, shit just got real. It's the same level of shit, you know? It's the moment where everything changes.
Yeah.
And when that chord hits at the end of that 11th episode, it's that feeling.
Right.
Masterfully executed.
Yeah, that's an indication of its masterful execution right there.
It didn't go the way we thought it was going to go. But it went in and did.
Depending upon what you're thinking, I'm glad it didn't go that way.
No, I think I'm glad as well.
Because I really thought it was going to be Machu versus Nyan. And I really did not want to see that.
I think that would have been the really cliche, like, old Gundam.
We're just repeating
this is what we're
history.
Doing.
Correct.
I mean, I didn't like how quickly Nyan kind of like got fucking punked out. So Shuji is essentially the Amuro of the timeline that he comes from. We hit this final episode, and there's this explanation of the fact that Lala, in the timeline that this Lala is from, where the Rose of Sharon is actually called Elmeth. At first, you're like, oh, it's the Universal Century timeline.
Yeah.
But it's not.
No, it's not.
Because in that timeline, Char tries to block Amuro from killing Lala, and Char dies.
Yes.
And she witnesses Char's death, and it shatters...
Such despair.
It shatters her entire existence.
Yep.
And then creates these multiple tangential realities, all toward a goal of creating a timeline in which Char survived. And he dies over and over and over and over. And one of those is, in fact, the Universal Century timeline, where Amuro is the pilot and whatever. That's the implication, is that the one that we have been following is just one of those many.
Yes.
And this one, she figured out that the only way to keep Char from dying is for Char to get the White Gundam, so that the White Gundam couldn't kill him because he's the pilot of the White Gundam.
Yep.
And so it puts us into this situation where we've essentially got a new timeline, separate from a nearly 50-year-old golden timeline. And Shuji's the Amuro of the timeline he comes from, because he's the pilot of the White Gundam. And his goal is to protect or save Lala. And he doesn't give a shit about Char. So he shows up, Gundam turns all black and white, gets all super big. Machu does a thing, makes like the shoulders glow.
The battle is pretty good. That final battle was pretty good.
It is really, really good. But it's a Gundam battle. Like, the truth of it is, like, I'm going to defer to the Frank Herbert, George R.R. Martin attitude of the fights themselves aren't that important. It's about the lead up and the consequences.
Yes.
That's what matters. Describing battles, oh, this guy swung a sword and this guy did this. And no, that's all dumb.
Mm-hmm.
The consequences are the more important
Right.
part. So we skip past that, and essentially Machu does the thing. She manages to resonate her soul with Shuji, because that's what new types are all about.
The GQuuuuuX goes berserker mode.
It opens its face up, it gets teeth,
Yes.
it turns into Unit 2. Soul resonates with him, which is it's in canon. It's
Sure.
in canon
Yeah.
that new types their souls will resonate.
Yeah.
It's important for the new type relationship, because I think it's part of the canon that there are so many different interpretations of new type power. In the show, there's interpretations that are different, and they sort of bicker back and forth. But I think that it's frequently said that the truest strength of a new type is the ability to intuitively understand the feelings and the needs of your fellow man. So it's this ability to connect and like be nurturing and be caring and
Empathy.
Empathetic. Yeah. It's the military sees that as an asset, because it shows, like, in terms of piloting, it's this like reactionary response to combat moves and shit like that. You can see what your opponent's going to do.
Yep.
The connection between Machu and Shuji, I think, is a great example of that. You know, they say they love each other, which is adorable. They hug and kiss, and then he vanishes. And a whole fuckload of other shit fucking vanishes. So the Rose of Sharon vanishes, which I would assume means that the continuing creation of tangent timelines is done.
Yeah.
Lala is going back to where she came from, and she's
Just going to live in her reality.
She's settled it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gets it. You would then assume that Shuji would likely go back as well, but we don't know. And a bunch of other shit gets wiped out, but everybody else seems to be okay. Char's still okay. Shalia Bull's okay.
Yep.
Machu and Yan are okay. Like, everybody's good.
All the scrappers, they've settled on Earth.
The Pomeranians are ready to like start pillaging the wreckage of Yomeg Nutho.
Yep.
I just wanted to get the name in one more time.
Props.
You know, everything looks good. And then we see Nyan and Machu on the beach. And Nyan's like, well, so what are we going to do? Like, where are we going to go? What's the deal? And she's like, well, you know, we're wanted criminals, for one.
Yeah.
Because they're to blame for all of this. And
well, they're just wanted criminals from what happened on Side 6.
well, sure, right.
But they're
So
complicity. They're being complicit.
But at that point, Machu says that she knows that Shuji's out there somewhere, so they're going to find him. And that...
because the Gundam told her.
Right, because the Gundam told her. So that is a thing that tells me that there is very likely a follow-up to this coming. But then we also get, honestly, and the fans lost their minds about this, the only happy ending that Char Aznable has ever had in all of Gundam.
Yes.
Because he says to Shalia Bull, like, dude, I'm going to live a life where you are not going to want to kill me. That's essentially what he says.
That was a great line. I loved that line.
And he's like, fuck it, I'm out. Because Shalia told him, he's like, you should never be the one in charge of the Zeon, because you're just going to try to wipe out Earth like Cassilia did.
Yeah.
We're going to back Artesia. We want her to be the leader of Zeon, and she's going to fix all of this. And I think that in that moment, Char was like, you know what? He's not fucking wrong. I'm not the guy for that. So he fucks off. And he does the thing that he's never gotten to do before. And he goes and he finds prostitute Lala, and she immediately recognizes him from her dreams and cries. he gets to be with Lala. What a fucking win. The
Right.
guy never gets to have that, and he gets to have it now. But it's a Gundam series, so like if there's gonna be a follow-up series, that's gonna go sideways because they're not gonna do a fucking follow-up without Char in it.
I think doing a follow-up to this would be disingenuous. I think the way it ended was very nice.
I think the only way that a follow-up would be okay is if it was a movie, not a series.
Yeah, it
and
would
it was
be-
just
it would
about
be a movie.
Machu and Yan finding Shuji.
Like traveling the timeline.
Yep, that would be the only way I think it could really work
Correct.
and
No,
not,
I
and not
agree with you.
spit on it. And as a general rule, I don't think that the Gundam meta franchise has ever beat a dead horse. But then I remember that they did that Gundam Seed Freedom movie, and now they're doing another one. So yeah,
That's a good lead away into my argument in Gundam overall. I think Gundam does beat a dead horse, and that horse is Char.
Yeah.
Gundam struggles to get out from under the shadow
Well-
that is Char.
you know, you can find the memes all over the internet that every Gundam series, because of that character, includes a masked character. And that doesn't mean they're all like Char, but
Yeah.
Zex Marquise, awesome. From Wing, one of my favorite masked characters. Raul LaCrusade from Seed, pretty fucking awesome. There are sometimes masked characters that don't wear masks, so it's implied. But like McGillis Farid in Iron Blooded Orphans is
Yep.
briefly masked, and then you get Vidar as the masked character in the second season. But I think that McGillis is more the Char character of
the
that series.
analog.
Love Graham Aker from 00. When he's Mr. Bushido is the dumbest part of the story, but because his name is stupid. But Graham Aker is amazing, and if they ever actually adapt what is like a stage play or whatever that they did as like a follow up to Trailblazer, the 00 movie, they did a stage play thing which actually continues the story, and Graham Aker is actually the main character. There's character designs and stuff that are online and everything. Because it was a big deal. And everybody's like, fuck yeah, man, let's make a fucking show out of this. Make a movie, do something. Like, you need to know kind of who Char Aznavour is.
Yeah.
You need to know what
Familiarity with the 1 Year War.
who the Zabi family were, what happened with the 1 Year war, who Amuro was, and why, like how he ended up piloting the Gundam. I mean, because most of this series, you spend, if you know that, you're kind of wondering like, well, where the fuck is Amuro? What happened?
Yeah, that was the thing. I was expecting at some point to see Amuro, and I think it's really telling that they didn't show him, that he
Well,
didn't appear at all.
I think that there is something to that. You know, having rewatched it, I think that there is a very intentional non-inclusion of Amuro. There's only one timeline where Amuro was the guy, because it's implied that there were many, many different variations. So
A really good way to think about GQX is it is a nexus.
yeah, well, convergence of a bunch of different
Yes.
time, like a bunch of
Okay.
things.
So while we're on the topic, and I think this might be a good point in this, Shuji, Iron Blooded Orphans timeline.
Interesting.
He feels
I honestly-
very Iron Blooded Orphans to me.
Sort of, but honestly, I think that Shuji is in many ways a variant of Amuro Ray.
Yeah, he was the stand-in for Amuro Ray. I think a lot of
He
it was
felt a
just
lot
his
like
outfit.
Mika because he was shaggy haired and sort of like aloof and
Right, but I kind of got, I can't remember his name. Basically, the main character of 8th Mobile kind of got a little bit of his vibe off him too.
Shiro Amada.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got off of it. But that like it harkens back towards like the wrap up of this particular series.
I don't know though. I think that Shiro was a far more like kind-hearted, like altruistic character. You know, like even when he was lost in space with a Xeon pilot, he was like, "Dude, we're both people. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
why don't we bone while we're here?" Like,
Right.
We got shit
Well,
else
and
to
that's
do.
just it because like you said, variants.
Yeah, I think that rather than trying to look at him as his own standalone character, I think that he's more valuable in the narrative in terms of the other characters that he is an analog of. Like, what elements of other characters are being sort of poured into this
Sure.
character bucket?
He really is just kind of a vessel.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you get to the end, like, there's not much to him.
Well, and even in the beginning, when we're meeting him and starting to learn about him, he's really relaying mostly information that's coming to him through the Gundam. Which at one point they're like, "Are you sure that's really the Gundam talking, or just not him?"
Or are you a
Which is
fucking crazy person?
fair.
You know, like whatever.
Well, I
Yeah.
think he was a little bit of that too.
And that's the other thing. Like, he goes from being kind of a mumbling crazy person to suddenly having like a master plan.
Crazy person.
And I'm like, you really got your shit together really, really quickly there, guy.
Right.
I don't know.
Like how much 4D chess was he playing?
Right. Oh, Jesus. I am not talking about 40 chess.
None at all.
I think that as a whole, it's a great series. I think that a lot of the resonance is hinged upon having some knowledge of the previous stuff.
Yeah.
I think that it's a good series without that. I mean, Adam,
I would watch it again. I enjoyed it. Like ramping up into it, I was confused, but I'm like, when am I not confused when I'm watching anime? So, and not having the context, it's not as bad as that. Like if somebody who also like they have limited Gundam experience would be like, go watch it. If you love big robots, go watch it. If you love a story that wraps up pretty well, exceptionally well, really, go watch it.
I mean, the animation is pretty spectacular.
It is.
I think
I'm still not a fan of the character designs. I'm not.
It's a little bit. It's a little chibi looking. Like they're a little bit like
the backgrounds were absolutely spectacular, and like it's a really weird thing to enjoy that type of thing. But no, man, like. You look at older animations, it's kind of like, oh, hey, look, they've got this cell that they keep reusing. It's like,
yeah. I mean, it's not He-Man where they're running past the same background over and over again. They just put it on a loop.
No, they put a lot of detail into the
but like
into
the grungy bad area where fucking the Pomeranians were based. Like, yeah, it's grungy, it's bad, it's low lit, it has depth of environmental feel.
You want to have that lived-in feel. I think that when you, especially when you watch like the closing credits and you see the apartment, which isn't even in the show,
right?
But you see the two of them hanging out in this apartment, like it has this lived-in clutter sort of scenario, and I like that.
I don't know what they're really called, but I always love the robots. The
Haro.
Oh, the Haro. Yeah. I love the fucking boxy one the most.
What did he call it? What is the one Shuji had on his head?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, that's the one I love the most because it's like
a crab.
Yeah, he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna sit on your head.
That should have been an indication early on that he was from a different reality because his Haro was a little crab, not a ball.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. When would we ever expect to have a multiple timeline apex within a Gundam story?
This is not at all what anybody expects.
No.
I think it's great because it accomplishes something that Gundam struggles with, which is doing something genuinely unique.
Yep.
And it did it in a way where it wasn't.
But
like it was, but it wasn't.
But it's still stuck within the 2 points that always bother me with Gundam.
Char Aznable.
You can't get out from under his shadow. And it's always the Wonderkin problem.
But I mean that's the
Wonderkin aspect.
Yeah, but that's
I went into GQuuuuuX not liking it because I didn't like the character designs and I feared it was going to be Gundam Eureka 7.
Right, and like I said, I was worried that it was too similar to Witch from Mercury, which was the last series, because going in with the
female lead,
the clan bats and shit was very similar. Yeah.
I didn't really start getting engaged with GQuuuuuX until they introduced Alala.
Okay.
Like when the whole alternate timeline thing.
Well, it started to make more sense. Like, why are we wasting our time with this shit?
It made it cohesive.
Like how compelling can just an alternate timeline of the original Gundam really be? Like, dude, it's cool that you like Gundam, but
like,
you want to like reimagine it.
Oh, cool, Zeon won this time. That's a new take.
Right, cool. It's like in Royal Tenenbaums. Like, we know that General Custer died at the Battle of Little Bighorn, but my book presupposes, like, what if he didn't?
The way that the story culminated and ended made me enjoy the story and appreciate the quality in the writing to tell what ultimately was a very concise and well-contained story within a 12-episode run.
Yeah, which is tough. I mean, I mean, there are obviously great examples of stories that are perfect in a 12-episode run.
Of course.
And they're mostly called Stardust Memory. As a side note, Stardust Memory's biggest victory, not a single fucking new type in that movie, in that entire series. They're all just badass pilots.
Nice. Early on when I realized that it was like, because I asked Steve, like, okay, how many episodes? He's like, 12. I'm like, okay, cool. And it's like, is it self-contained? I don't know if you really, I mean, like, I think
maybe.
I think you gave me a solid maybe, and I like watched it, and I was like, and I found out that it's like, oh, it's an alternate, and I'm like, fuck, I have no context, which is fine. It wound up being
I was watching
just
it
fine.
either way because it's Gundam, so I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
right.
Correct.
Like when we saw the Rose of Sharon, I'm like, oh, that looks like the Zeon chick in fucking 8th Mobile's fucking thing.
Oh, was she in there? Oh,
that's what it looked like.
That. Yeah. Like Aina Sahaline's mobile
and I was
armor.
like, is that fucking Duder that he was fucking like taking the hot springs bath after he fucking fired up his beam sword to keep like?
I know you're a Zeon, but let's bone.
Yeah, right. Like, hey man, we got hot springs. We got to get naked to stay warm. We'll be in this water. Let's do it.
Oh my god! Look, my clothes fell off. Like they were frozen.
That is a detriment with the series. Is that it truly does require a lot of background. Can't go into it not knowing Gundam because you're going to lose out on things.
And that's a larger Gundam problem, though. When you've got a
Correct.
show that's been around for that long, which is why when he asked me about Gundam, I was like, grab Iron Blooded Orphans. There's no other context to
That's a
understand
really
it.
good
Like,
standalone.
Yeah.
And,
And it's a
Wing-
compelling story.
Right. Wing is a little bit less compelling. It's because it's, when it's from. But
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
if you're going to try to get into this, like, it's hard to jump in with the original stuff. And
Especially
know
if you
you're gonna
don't like
it.
the dated artwork
Right.
and storytelling.
There was
Because
so
the
much.
storytelling is very
But
dated.
there was so much about this series that did a great job in the way that it tied to the original stuff. There were audio cues and music that they were using, like little stingers here and there that were original series audio cues.
Well,
Like,
it's a
there
love
was-
letter to the franchise from Anno.
and yeah, so like I watched the stuff I like more than I watched the stuff that I,
Right.
whatever.
a surprise.
I'm not out there rewatching the original Gundam series over
Yeah.
and over again because
Like,
it's
all right, I know the story. I don't
yeah,
need
dude,
to keep
whatever.
repeating
Yeah, like
this.
like I'll watch Zeta again because Zeta's amazing, even though
Mm-hmm.
the animation's dated. It's not as dated as the original. But you learn these audio cues, you learn like these pieces of music, and they used all that stuff. I think the right amount, where you've got like just a couple of little indicators here and there.
Yeah.
It is like a high five to a longtime fan. Frequently in any property, when you're trying to be self-referential, like it gets hard. Star Wars fails at it all the time with the
Yeah,
modern stuff.
correct.
Like, what is the right
Well, they've
amount
got
of
other issues
references
with
to
it as
other
well.
things? Like you can't constantly be referencing things. You can't be constantly winking at the audience about every joke. Marvel movies do it too. It's just
So does Star Trek to
it's
some
because
extent.
it's because at this point, like we're
Yeah.
living in idiocracy, where like they assume that everybody watching everything is an idiot, so you need to be
You need to
obvious
keep
about everything.
teaching them everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think
but
whereas-
so
whereas-
it didn't do that, which I think is great.
Yeah.
I think that like the level of reference was
Right. And-
appropriate.
And I think where this is like a high five to like older fans, it's like a little bit of like a, motion your hand towards like some people who may not be familiar with it. Like, come on in, man, check us out.
Right. It presented enough to make things maybe enticing for
Right.
Oh,
for
no,
people.
absolutely. No. I would say it does a really good job of dangling bits from the other stories,
Right.
other titles. We're like, you liked this, here's a pathway.
Right. And it's like, for me, it's like, yes, I understand and have known for quite a while that I have visual homework to do.
yeah.
It's not the worst kind of homework.
Right. And it's like, it's something I'm interested in. So clearly I'm going to, when I allocate time to it, I'm going to dive into it.
Yeah.
It's like, am I going to shamelessly rewatch Iron Blooded Orphans somewhere in between there? Fuck yeah, I am.
It's on a streaming service. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, dude, it's on Hulu. I'm in.
Great. Got it.
I'm trying to get Michelle to watch it. We're right at like when it's dope. I believe they just joined Tekada, or they just joined Teiwaz.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So I'm like, ooh, Michelle, it's about to get really fucking good. I liked it as a whole. I think it was a successful endeavor. I think that
Yes.
it was better than Witch from Mercury was. Adam, you were saying earlier, I understand when a thing's not for me.
Right.
Yeah.
In the same way, I'm not mad that new viewers could jump on and watch a Gundam show. And I think that crossing over with Evangelion people, I think was a great move. I think that the mech design, like tying into that, was a great move. I think that the animation being similar, like the mech movement and stuff being similar to Rebuild, I think that it creates a bridge, I think.
To be fair, though, I don't know how much resonance there are with younger anime viewers in regards to Evangelion.
It's two different like communities for sure.
I don't know. Between Evangelion and Gundam?
Yeah.
I would argue no.
You think that it's a
all
lot of the same people?
I think it's the same people.
What I've always
I think it's
found-
the same people, just in the same way that it's the same people who like Dragon Ball Z and Naruto and Bleach. It's the there
I'm
are
gonna disagree.
the
I'm gonna
mecha
disagree.
fan the real mecha fans. I think they will
And
watch
there's
as
the
much as they
struggle.
can.
There's the struggle, I think, because like I remember when I was first getting into Gundam, and as you said earlier, like we grew up being Macross people, like
Yeah.
watching
Yep.
Robotech and then Macross Plus and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. I remember when I first got into Gundam and I was going to like Model Zone, which obviously doesn't exist anymore, but like
R.I.P. Model Zone.
right. And I was going with a friend of mine, and I'm looking at stuff and
Mm-hmm.
like buying things, or whatever. And he even said to me like, you got to realize like there's people that like anime, and then there's Gundam people. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, Gundam people are Gundam people because there's a lot of Gundam and there's a lot of Gundam. And
That
you can
does
talk
make
to
sense.
people. You can talk to people about anime, and they like anime. But if you're like, well, I'm into Gundam, they're like, you're into Gundam. And the truth is, like, on a larger scale, like outside of Gundam, like, what anime am I into? Neon Genesis, sure. Trigun, sure, because it was a thing at the time when I was getting into anime.
Yes.
Everyone likes Akira. I like trash anime. I like MD Geist. I want it to be
Oh,
awful.
God.
I want it to be awful. You know, Demon City Shinjuku,
Wicked City.
Wicked City also, sure. But like Macross, all the Macross.
I've watched a lot of terrible anime.
Full
Thanks to
Metal.
Jana.
I've watched a lot of anime.
Period, yeah.
I'm not a widespread anime guy. I am admittedly primarily a Gundam guy. I can't just roll into an anime convention and be like, hey guys, hello fellow anime guys. Let's talk about Char Aznable.
America, sure. But Japan, that's a different story.
Well, sure. In Japan, I'd be fucking elite.
Gundam is pop culture.
Yeah.
I'd be the guy.
Yeah,
Gundam
there'd be-
is just integral to the pop
like I said
cultural
earlier,
landscape in Japan.
Gundam in Japan is equal to Star
Star Wars
Wars
here.
In here, yeah.
Correct.
But yeah, no, I mean, as a whole, I'm not a big anime guy. I'm a Gundam guy.
My life is consuming anime at this point.
The show sort of really wins when it's targeted at people who are aware of the larger continuity, is that you had 2 of the 3 Black Tri-Stars that were like legendary Zeon pilots, and they talk about how their third guy went and got married and retired.
Yeah.
They were so legendary in the original Gundam series that they were like reimagined for Seed Destiny. Like they're
geez,
characters
okay.
that echo throughout.
Okay.
Because we're on this alternate timeline. Like they're doing the same thing that they do with Shalia Bull, who was in the original Gundam, but was like kind of a throwaway character.
He was just a background character.
And he's hugely important to this.
He's one of the pivotal characters.
Yeah, but
Right.
to have those things, like the war ended and these guys were like legendary pilots in the Zeon army, were hugely consequential to their victory. And now they're like, one dude went off and got married and he's living the good life, and the other 2 are like, they're working like as garbage men, and they're like, well, I guess we can do this clan battle thing,
Yeah, we
make
got
some money
skills.
and fucking retire. Right, yeah, and then
Yeah.
they both die. So like you get that, and then you get the episode with the witch.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of stuff in like the Facebook groups about her being actually another.
Yeah, because she doesn't
character.
really exist in that
Right.
permutation in any of the other
No,
Gundam.
but there is a lot of talk about which characters from the original series she maybe. There's a couple of them that like
Sure.
the fans have pointed to. None of them were noteworthy enough that I feel like remembering them
Sure.
at the moment. But I think that she's definitely there as a symbol of those characters. Like Mirai, who was like the helmsman for the White Base in the original series
Okay.
and shit like that. Who's Hathaway's mother. So
All right.
Bright's wife by the end of the series.
Okay.
But she was clearly a new type. Like there's a lot of like,
Which would be weird to do a stand-in because the story didn't shy away from just literally picking
it could've-
characters
well,
out of
maybe
the story.
that's the thing. Maybe that is supposed to be her. Like and it's possible. Maybe I'm just too lazy to do the research on
Sure.
her name. Like maybe there is another character that she is supposed to be. Then we also get to honestly my favorite arc, like clan battle arc, which is the Psycho Gundam with the Do from the Murasame Labs, which is amazing standalone episode where they ship this big crate and everybody's like, oh, it's an air conditioner or whatever. And then
Well, that's kind of the apex that leads into the real meat of the story.
there are scenes upon scenes upon scenes throughout the entire series that are all framed like single stills or entire progressions that are all framed to emulate scenes from Gundam and scenes from Neon Genesis. All there intentionally. It's
Yes.
there all as tribute. The entire Psycho Gundam situation with her name is 2 essentially, and whoever the dickhead that she hangs out with, and her band-aid that makes it look like she has no nose. But
Oh my god!
yeah,
yes.
that was so weird.
that is a direct reference to 4 Murasame of Zeta Gundam that Camille Badan fights on Earth in the Psycho Gundam. Like
Okay.
she's in the Psycho Gundam there, and it flies out in a big cube and then opens up, and it's like
Yeah.
5 times the size of the. I believe he's still piloting the Mark II at that time. They talk about Murasame Labs, and they talk about how the Earth Federation started experimenting on
Artificial-
naturals to try to
yep.
make artificial new type.
Yep.
And in Zeta, Camille meets 4 and they like sneak away and they go on dates and stuff, and he falls in love with her. And it turns out that she's like this tortured pilot of the Psycho Gundam. And eventually he ends up having to kill her. But it's the same thing. And I like the idea that we're like 5 years out. Like think about this different timeline. In Zeta, it would be about that time. They're numbering them because it's she's clearly 2.
Yeah.
Number 2 of the series from Murasame Labs.
Yep.
And then you've got 4 in Zeta to see that they've planted this character that's like an earlier reference in that development timeline. But the way that they use the clan battles to like really sprinkle in some really cool,
some deep lore,
world lore.
Yeah.
And they give those nods to, and you guys didn't know about these things. I mean, obviously, as I'm talking about it, you didn't know.
See, and that's the thing.
Like, because like the two guys from the TriStar, that like putting it in that perspective, like that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
See,
like, because I love them, and like I didn't like the reference when you said I wish someone's like because they mentioned their friend, but like, and then they mentioned him again. I'm like,
and
they got to meet this
and
fucking
they do
guy.
the jet stream attack, which is like their signature move. Like they do all the shit.
See, and I kind of got screwed on this because the one that grabbed me the most was the witch. And then so I looked it up.
Which is a great episode.
So I looked it up and I'm like, oh, this is all that exists for her.
But there's no, there were no references.
Right.
Sad. Because like I wanted to see more because I was really invested in her character.
If you had been interested by the other ones,
not really.
You would have looked them up and been like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But I
think, the witch though, I was like, okay, I'm invested in this story.
But maybe that's kind of by design. If her storyline is a standalone and it's not a reference to anything else, then obviously they have to put a lot more work into making it compelling.
Sure.
Whereas with the other ones,
you
they
should
know
already come
that
with the
like the fans
knowledge.
know all this other shit, so they have to work a little less hard to make them compelling.
True.
The whole series is a lot of fan service.
It is a lot of fan service.
If you don't have any reference point, it makes it hard to. I mean, it's still a good show.
Yeah, it took longer for the ramp up for me to be meaningful. The last 4 episodes is like, okay, cool, I'm into this now. Whereas like at the beginning of it, I'm like, all right, cool, okay. What the fuck? Why the fuck? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm seeing some twists. I'm like, all right. Once you hit the certain break point of like probably like episode 8 or 9, and I was like,
I'll tell you when it is. It's when Machu says, "Fuck this, dude! I'm gonna steal this Gundam and we're gonna go to fucking Earth and go swimming." I thought that this series did a lot with Cecilia that was very endearing. They humanize her in a way that I don't think that she had been previously.
Sure.
She likes to cook food, and then there's a point where she flashes back to seeing Casval and Artesia as kids.
Yes.
And like talks about how beautiful they were with
how
blonde hair.
She admired his beautiful flowing
and how
blonde hair.
Her hair was like wavy and red, and she hated it.
Yep.
And seeing them made her think that she could have been a mother and loved being a mother. Like that is sort of also paralleled with the way that she interacts with Nyan. When Nyan gets to Zeon, she takes her under her wing, and she's making dinner for her, and she's talking about stuff, and she gives in that weird parallel sort of narrative thing where Shalia Bull gives Machu the gun that he was going to use to kill himself, but before he found his new path, and then Cecilia gives Nyan the gun that her father gave her at the birth of Zeon. So it's like this idea of those girls becoming like the next generation of this sort of future. Shalia Bull and Cecilia both have this idea of a new type future.
Yes.
And I think that there comes a point where they realize that neither one of them are really what it needs to be there for that future to happen. Because of where this fits in the timeline, the technology really was in line with the a natural progression of the original technology. Like, they didn't get anything super, super crazy, but all of the stuff looked like a reasonable evolution.
A natural progression.
The technology that they were at. And I think that use of the bits and in the flashback episode where they blow up a Bawaku or whatever, when Char vanishes, he talks about how his bits were out of propellant. He throws them at the ship and kills a couple officers with them and shit like that. I think that what happens frequently with Gundam shows is that they have to have a new fancy crazy weapon.
Yeah.
And in this case, they didn't. They just used a more advanced version of the same technology that they were using before. So using the bits, and I think seeing the different pilots have different aptitudes. When Neon's piloting the Fred's got cool bit technology with those V fins shooting out.
That just pops up. It looked like they were generative too. There were replacements for them.
Oh yeah, so she probably had holsters of them.
Right.
Yeah. Which is when one of my favorite.
Which is, I don't know, in a way that's
Hold on a second. No. It's that's very similar to one of my favorite mobile suit designs, which is the Sazabi, which Char pilots in Char's counterattack, which has shoulder units full of backup bits that it fires out.
Okay.
And shit. And Amuro's new Gundam setup, which has the fin foil funnels, it's basically got a single wing off of its right shoulder that are all the fins pop off as their own bits. They're funnel bits. They come up and they fold, and then there are guns shooting out of them and stuff. But he's got more on his shoulder. But
you always need backups.
yeah, well, because if they're getting shot down, I mean,
Correct. You got to replace them.
The only defense against a bit attack is to shoot the bits.
Those delta-shaped bits that fired out from the head assembly, like they kind of reminded me, like when it looked like new ones popped out. It kind of reminded me of Shinji's fucking knife in Ava.
The prog knife?
Yeah, because like when he fucking used it and broke out the blade, it was just like new blade.
The
That was Oscar.
It was
who did that.
Oscar's
Oh,
prog
Oscar's,
knife, and
okay.
it was like a utility knife. Here, hold on.
Right.
Stretch a little more
Although
out.
in this case, in the Gundam, it was cooler because it's like, oh, you dealt with the first pair of bits. Now deal with these motherfuckers.
Right, yeah.
And they were so small and super agile, which is
The logical functionality of some of this stuff is really admirable in the way it's designed.
right. And I like the bits that were tethered. Those ones were fucking.
Well, those aren't bits then. Those
No, they're
are,
not.
They're, I can't remember what the word is for it.
Right, but it's
But
like
that's what Shelley Abdul uses on his
I thought those were
Kikaroga.
fucking super dope because they're just like, oh yeah, beam sweeping the fuck out of this bitch. Have
Yeah,
fun.
well, and the witch used them first. She was firing off.
Yep.
She was
Yes.
using the hook,
Yep.
and she was using.
She was
like,
using
the
it to like
wired-
change her direction.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have a at least passing respect of physics.
It's funny you say that. The first and only Gundam property so far to actually consult the way that physics would affect the functionality of a mobile suit was Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway. The way that the mechs perform in Earth's orbit is they actually consulted specialists
Nice.
who explained how they would move and how it would look to see them move within Earth's orbit. And it's the first time that they've done that. Hathaway is like a lot of like not mobile suit time, which is a bummer. But
That's not what I'm here for.
right, I'm here for the robots, guy.
Right, come on.
You don't like the military drama?
Right.
I mean, I'm here for that too, but like,
But the
big robots.
the robot part, like, is some of the best portrayal of how a mobile suit of that scale would actually function.
And then, you know, for entertainment reasons, of course, they're highly fucking dynamic. Highly.
Right. I mean, you want it to be fast. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that given that, you know, if the animation can allow for it, I want it to be as fast as it can be. I
Right.
mean, I play Armored Core games for a reason. And I'll
Right.
tell you, Armored Core 6 is not a slow game.
I would totally recommend this to somebody who's not very familiar with Gundam as like an entry. It's not the best way
Yeah,
to
no,
enter it.
I think it is
But
a
it's
good
good.
entry because it's
It lets you know kind of almost appropriately like what kind of homework you need to do afterward.
Yeah, and I think that being that it's a 12 episode,
It's only 12 episodes.
It's
makes it more
digestible.
consumable.
it's a story that is contained within itself, even though it leaks all over the place. But
Yeah.
that leakage is
I mean, and as Adam
Only if
said,
you want to
it-
pursue the
it
leaks.
sort of like it gives you just enough to know, like, I'm interested in this.
well, if
Right.
if you want to see if there's anything to it without even
Would you
thinking
like to
about
know
it.
more?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Sign me up.
I think at the end, I don't regret watching it, and I enjoyed it much more once the back half of the story kicked in.
I think that on that front end, especially with the Clan Bat stuff, if you had the knowledge, the
Sure.
background knowledge to appreciate, like, the Black TriStar.
Would have been more engaged.
And,
Yeah, that would like when you explained it, I was like,
and the
that's
Psycho
so
Gundam
fucking
thing,
dope.
like,
Yeah.
all that stuff is.
The Psycho Gundam part was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh fuck, that's awesome.
But understanding, like, the Murasame Labs, which is a thing that goes through a bunch of shit. I think that it's a show that's enjoyable, but different enjoyable with the background knowledge.
Correct. Oh yeah, very much so. So thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate it. The input was enjoyable.
One thing, I started watching this as episodes came out. That was a bad mistake. I'm glad I stopped at
Yeah,
3.
I stopped at 4.
I stopped at 3 and I was like, I can't.
Then I
I
restarted
watched
it.
it weekly.
I restarted it and watched everything Thursday.
I've watched, I think, every Gundam series that's come out since, I think 00 was the first one that I started watching, like, fan subbed as it was releasing.
Yep, same.
And this was one of the only times that I was successful. Even Iron Blooded Orphans, I didn't succeed. I fell behind. But I was successful in watching the new episode every week. Because I think even Iron Blooded Orphans, there was a point, I think it was in season 2, where I was like,
Like the halfway point
Yeah,
when they
like,
when they
'cause-
get to Earth.
like it's a slog. Like in season 2, it like slows down in that first
Yeah.
third.
Yeah.
So I like fell behind, and then I had like three or four episodes to watch, and I was like, oh.
I think my problem mostly is squirrel.
Right. Well, I don't have
See, my problem is I got sucked back into Minecraft this past couple of months.
The hell you say?
because of the movie. I get it. Yeah.
Nope. Nope.
But yeah, so no, like this was a rare occurrence where I was able to keep up week to week,
Sure.
and be interested. And maybe that's just because of what was going on in my life, and that I needed that like half hour on a Tuesday afternoon or whatever to like just do this instead. But last couple series, I think even with Witch from Mercury, I fell behind a couple episodes and then caught up. So I think that kind of speaks to the quality of the pacing and the narrative as well.
The narrative was fantastically paced. It was a very measured story. All said and done, at the end of it, they did a really good job of telling a really concise story in 12 episodes.
Right, which makes you wonder how many things should just be 12 episodes instead of, I don't know,
A lot.
50.
A lot.
A
A
lot.
lot of them. Yeah,
I mean, I love Zeta
Sure.
Gundam, but it could be a lot shorter.
Right.
All right. With that, thanks again.
Yep. Thank you.
And don't forget to check out the regular podcast. We've got a bunch of new shows for this season. For Anime Plus, we are talking about Rascal Does Not Dream of Santa Claus. And then for the regular podcast, we are talking about The Summer Hikaru Died, Sakamoto Days, and City the Animation. So those come out Wednesdays and Fridays weekly. And we'll check you guys next time.